Hi, Serenity. So I just figured it'd be easier to send you a video than try to email you and explain everything. And I'll just show you some examples. So in your project, so this is your project. Yours has your ABC book, right? So you have like A, B, but it has nothing to do with Fahrenheit 451. So that's the big problem, is that you have to make sure it's connected to the story Fahrenheit 451 in some way, shape, or form. So what I'm going to do is obviously you wouldn't be able to use any of these because they don't connect, and you only needed to do a certain number of slides. So you did like the whole alphabet here, so you don't need that. Your sources also, and I'll show you on the example for another student here. So I'm going to pause and then I'll come back real quick. Okay, so a good example of an ABC book would have to like relate back to Fahrenheit 451. So when you do your research, so I'm going to show you Marlon's really quick. Um, the first thing that he did was he did his double-sided journal entry. So what that means is he went to two sites and he had to find out what made um, what makes a good children's book. And as you go into like the actual project itself, hold on, I'm gonna pause one more. Okay, so as you go into the actual project, you had all these choices, right? So you did the ABC book. So the very first thing that you were supposed to do is go in and do some research and go to different websites that you're going to answer these questions. So you're going to look for a website that tells you what makes a good children's book. And then you are also going to look at how do writers convey theme in children's books. So what Marlon did, just to show you that example, is this is his double-sided journal entry. So he went in and he found two websites. So this is the first one. And then if you scroll down, this is the second one. And basically he just found two sites that he answered those research questions. So these are quotes that he had to pull from that source. So from each source that he had, so he had two sources. So this was the first one. He pulled five quotes from those, and then in those quotes, he basically just expanded on them. So for example, this first one of the important things was if a child relates to your story and sees themselves in it, they'll want to read it over and over. So his response to that was, I totally agree because when I was younger, I loved reading Junie B. Jones books because I could relate to it and the other characters, so I felt like she was an actual person in someone's class. So that was just his reflection of this. So he did that five times for that one source, and then he picked another source here, and then he pulled five more quotes and reflected five more times. So this right here is worth 15 of those 60 points in that assignment, okay? So it's really important that you do it. You don't want to skip it because it also will help you do your project. So that's the first thing that you need to make sure you do. You need to make sure to do these double-sided journal entries. The next thing that you needed to do was he did the project, right? So in his research, what he found out is that you need to have really kid-friendly pictures and colors and do all of that. So what he did was he has to have an intro. So his intro is not like a normal intro that we would write in our essays. His intro is very brief and it's very kid-friendly. And his pictures in the background are something that kids would maybe like. So bubbles or, whatever it is. Those are things that kids like. So if you look at um, his intro, he says, in this book, the good fireman Guy Montag is a fireman who burns books because in this world, they are banned. When Guy Montag meets Clarice, he sees that his job is not good. So then he starts his alphabet. You obviously can't use this, right? You can come up with your own little introduction, but that's what you need to do. So then, if you look, all of his pictures are pretty much kid friendly, right? Kid friendly. Everything is different. So it doesn't look like a PowerPoint presentation because you don't want it to look like a PowerPoint presentation. So the other thing that you have to do is you have to make sure that the alphabet is sequential. So my advice to you is start with A and then you're going to go all the way down to G or H, and you're going to end at H. So you only have to have a certain number of a certain group of letters, right? You don't have to have the whole alphabet. I think it was 8 is what you needed. So with that and your intro and conclusion slide, that's going to be 10 slides. You might have a little bit more. But the other thing I want you to look at is he has really simple wording. So A is for ashes. If you are caught with a book in this world, the fireman burns it. Be careful. So it'd be like you were reading to a little kid, right? So in your research, you would be learning that. Like that would be the type of thing that you would look. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. So obviously, if you want to use ashes, something different from books, Beatty obviously is one of the characters in there. You can use those, but you can't use like his exact wording. You would have to change it around or whatever. So the other thing going through here is that he has his little short conclusion there, and then he has his references. So the only thing with the references that he did not have that he should have had for his references was these two from the double-sided journals. So if you look at the double-sided journal entry, this should have been in his reference page because he used this as his research. So other than that, that's really all that was missing. So if you have questions, let me know. Hopefully that helps. You cannot copy any of his work in any way. So you can't use these resources. You have to find your own. Okay. So I just want to make that very clear. So if I see that, I'm going to be like, you can't do it and it'll be zero. Okay. So I just want to make that clear for you. If you have questions, let me know.